If I had to come up with two words that summed up parenting, I would say sacrifice and patience. Sacrifice and patience. You almost have to tell yourself when you're dealing with the parenting challenges, whether it's teenager, 3 year old, 1 year old, whatever stage they're in, you almost have to repeat to yourself in a cadence: patience, sacrifice, patience, sacrifice, patience, sacrifice. Because then you're like, okay, yeah, you're remembering what your mission was. Your mission as a parent is patience and sacrifice. However, welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast that promotes wellness, resilience, and joy while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. N. Joy, and today I bring to you episode 41, Parenting Challenges. Are you a parent? Do you deal with challenges with your kids? I mean, whether you are a married parent, a single parent, a co-parent, a grandma, grandparent who is all of a sudden parent to your grandkids and that was unexpected, an adopted parent, foster parent, or just someone who takes care of kids temporarily. So that could be a babysitter, whatever. This all includes you because raising children can be challenging. It's taken me a while to have this kind of talk because I kind of feel like it naturally goes between my experience with being a parent and my opinion with how to deal with being a parent, as well as my expertise and what I've learned throughout the years with developments and how to deal with kids and the challenges of raising them and what you can control and what you can't control. Um, it can kind of be a difficult topic, but first, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a part two from last week. Last week was cruising through the challenges, and although I don't have that beautiful water behind me anymore, I do have my beautiful turquoise wall behind me, so I just have to imagine that this is that beautiful water. Oh my goodness. Cruises, they just end so quickly. But as you know, my story of getting on the cruise, it seemed like so many challenges just for us to get there. The flight delays, the flight cancellations, and it was just kind of like a point where I felt like, are we even going to get on this cruise? Because I had never been on a cruise before. So I'm just like, I'm just never going to experience this. It's not going to happen. But then majority part of me was being hopeful and optimistic that we will make it, we will get there, and it'll be great. So that mindset helped me get through the unexpected challenges of those cancellations and those delays. And if you apply that to life, when you go through any type of challenge, it's always good to think about that light at the end of the tunnel, that paradise that you're about to enter when you finish that challenge or when you go through that challenge. And oh boy, that cruise was amazing. We had such a great time. And looking back, the delays that we went through, the 12-hour travel day just to get to Miami, is something small because it was just an amazing trip. And I did not do any work. I just shut off any outside forces regarding work, and that felt great. But yes, if we think of life that way, when you face any challenge and you think to yourself, I'm going to get through this, whatever that paradise is on the side, whatever that light at the end of the tunnel is on the other side, like if it's a job loss, having that positive, optimistic mindset of, I'm going to get another job. It's going to replace an even better job than this job that I lost, or a relationship. There will be other relationships for me, or now that if it's the fact that you went through a divorce or a loss of a relationship, your mindset would be, for the light in the tunnel is that, well, I'm gonna thrive single and I get to do this, and this all by myself. And yes, I'll find love. It doesn't have to be that, oh, I'm just gonna be alone, but that's still something positive to think about, that while you're alone, you can do what you want and grow and focus on yourself. So either way, when you go through a challenge, know that it's temporary and know that you're going to get through it and it's not permanent. even with grief, because grief, when you lose a loved one, death is permanent. But that goes in challenges as well, that you will still get through it facing grief. We're not talking about the subject of grief per se right now, but that is one of the challenges that we all face. And just even just seeing that light at the end of the tunnel and being positive. So, getting back from this amazing vacation, I have actually faced some work challenges, which is why I'm glad that I just unplugged and was not looking at email because that would have really affected my vacation. So when you go on vacation, don't look at work email because I feel like I'm rejuvenated. I was able to unplug and I feel ready to face work challenges. Can't go into detail, but yes, definitely faced a lot of work challenges getting back to work. I'm like, for real? I'm coming back from vacation and I'm facing this? But like I said before, if you're going to face some type of challenge, buckle up because it is time for you to grow. It's a time for you to become stronger and for you to practice that joy muscle and those resilience muscles because you're going to come out on top. So, on top of the work challenges that I've been experiencing, that I'm just like, okay, fine, just bring it on. I can do it. Today, while working, I work virtually still. I see my patients remotely. All of a sudden, I hear my mother in law screaming. I'm like, why is she screaming? What's going on? I was even with a patient. I had to pause the session. I said, it sounds like it's an emergency out there. Let me go check on this. And we actually had a flood occurring in the bathroom, in the child's bathroom upstairs. It's just water just coming out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, it was coming from the toilet, but it's just shooting out, just water. And we know how serious a flood can be in your house because we experienced that 3 years ago when Legend was a 4 month old. It's like, you got a 4 month old, we dealing with a flood. It was a leak in the kitchen that caused our ceiling to cave in the basement. And if you're a homeowner, I need to talk about home ownership challenges. How about that? But if you're a homeowner, there's always going to be some kind of challenges. But we had to deal with 4 months of being displaced, and we got a new basement, a new kitchen out of it. But here we go again. Here we go again. You probably hear knocking right now. They're demolitioning the upstairs floor and carpeting and all that because it was some serious damage today. So I was like, really? Really? Some more? And challenges come in like together. It's not like one challenge at a time. It's almost like, for people who believe in God, who are Christians, they almost say like, what, the devil is a liar. Here go another challenge, or come on, bring it on. It must mean I'm strong. It must mean there's because God can't put more on you than what you can bear. So if you're gonna have more challenges on you, it must mean you are equipped for it. And that's kind of how I felt today. I still had some calmness because it's really important to try to stay calm when you're dealing with stress or dealing with challenges like the house flooding, work challenges. I felt a little bit mentally drained, a little bit fatigued, but I still have that optimism that um, I typically like to display, where it's kind of like, what, we'll get through this. Yeah, that creates financial challenges whenever you go through house situations and having to renovate because of an emergency. But hey, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna stress, right? I'm just not gonna get a headache. I don't want to deal with that. And stress leads to high blood pressure, heart issues, all kinds of things. I got my morning workout in, so that's one thing that helps. I fed into myself this morning. I'm like, come on. So dealing with challenges always goes back to your self-care, feeding into yourself early in the morning, or if it's late at night, like sometimes that's when I work out or feed into myself late at night. At least that gets you prepared for the next day and to be able to face those challenges. So that's my part two about cruising through challenges. But we're supposed to talk about parenting challenges. Yeah. Being a parent is difficult. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding being a parent. I feel like being a parent is more rewarding than not. Yeah, there's challenges. And you have to really expect that there's gonna be challenges with being a parent. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. My husband says all the time he was a better parent before he was had kids because you over there telling other people how to deal with their kids. It's easier because you don't have to deal with them. But now it's kind of like, oh, now I have my own kid. Or with me, I have been around kids most of my life. I volunteered in hospital working with kids. Then I worked as a camp counselor, a preschool teacher. I have had experiences all my life before having my own kids. And so it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't think I was overly confident that I'll be an amazing mother. I don't think I went in thinking that. But I still was like, oh, I have this experience. But no, having kids on your own is a whole different challenge. I have three boys, 1 year old, 3 year old, and an almost 13-year old. So he's a preteen. A 13-year old, almost 13-year old. He thinks he runs the house, and the toddler is the one that runs the house. And the 1 year old, he just has everybody wrapped around his little baby finger. So having kids in different developmental stages in and of itself is challenging because you have to kind of change your mindset when dealing with each development or each age. So like the 1 year old, I mean, he can't do nothing on his own. Nothing. Well, I mean, he can walk now, so that's good. He's walking. He can point, but he's not really talking to the point where he's like telling me exactly what he wants. So then as a parent, you have to predict and be a mind reader. You have to mind read what they're what they want, which you get used to it. You learn your child like, okay, well he just wants to be breastfed. He needs his diaper changed. He's cold. He's hot. So you start to kind of get to that. But the 3 year old, oh my goodness, he's giving us a run for our money, a run for all of our patience and everything. I was told that three was worse than two. 3 years old is worse than 2 years old. And I was like, why? Oh, because they can speak. Why? I would think it would be easier because now they can speak. No. Now I get it. It's because they have a mouth on them. It's like they're disrespectful. No, I want this. And they just change their mind every single second. I want I want chocolate milk. No, I don't want chocolate milk. I want Lucky Charms. I don't want Lucky Charms. I want pancakes. I don't want pancakes. I want to wear my Paw Patrol. I don't want to wear my Paw Patrol. I want Sky. I don't want Sky. I want Chase. I don't want Chase. And if you don't know who they are part of the Paw Patrol. And obviously, the house is literally run by Paw Patrol and all the Coco Melon and all the shows that they want to watch. So, as a parent, you are literally losing yourself because they come first. I mean, if they don't, it's like, well, then you feel like you're neglecting them. I mean, sacrifice. If I had to come up with two words that summed up parenting, I would say sacrifice and patience. Sacrifice and patience. You almost have to tell yourself when you're dealing with the parenting challenges, whether it's teenager, 3 year old, 1 year old, whatever stage they're in, you almost have to repeat to yourself in a cadence patience, sacrifice, patience, sacrifice, patience, sacrifice. Because then you're like, okay, yeah, you're remembering what your mission was. Your mission as a parent is patience and sacrifice. However, one of those things, although one of those things needs to remain 100% all the time, the other one, there should be some flexibility. Let's see if you can guess which. Patience is something you need to just have 100% of the time, and it needs to just stay. But sacrifice doesn't have to be 100% of the time. You should not be sacrificing yourself and putting those kids first 100% of the time. Why not? Because that is going to go against one of the parenting strategies of how to deal with these parenting challenges. And one of the parenting strategies is self care. Yeah, Self-care is the answer to almost everything. You listen to all my podcasts, I'm gonna keep talking about self-care. And I'm just gonna drill that into your head because you are not doing enough self-care. So that is why I keep talking about it. So how are you gonna deal with yourself if you sacrifice everything 100% of the time and you aren't doing anything selfish for you? I shouldn't even use the word selfish because self-care, as you know in my self-care talk, is not selfish. But if you're being selfless 100% of the time for your kids, and that can go in a lot of different ways. I mean, obviously, you got to make sure your kids are fed, you got to make sure they're clothed, they have somewhere to sleep. But if they are doing an activity 5 days a week and you got to drive 3 hours to go take them to that activity, and now you're drained, and because they got that activity out of the way, but where's your self care? So put them at a plane where you're making sure you're taking care of yourself and your relationship. If you are in a marriage relationship or a relationship with someone who you're co-parenting with and you have someone to pass the kids on to, then you can take care of yourself during those times that they're with that parent, or you guys can go back and forth. Okay, this is your turn to do self-care, this is my turn to do self-care. Work that out and have that schedule so that you can get that self-care in, because it is important. And if it is that you are a single parent, there's still time in the day. There are some parents where their kids are with them 100% of the time because they are homeschooled. So that is a different situation. Of course, for kids who, for parents who are single parents and their kids do go away at school at some point, they're away and you got to spend time working. And so, therefore, there should be some time in the day to be able to get some of that in. Maybe before you go pick them up, spend that time. You can hear, usually, there's some background music to most of my podcasts, but I'm going to stop and have you listen because we're talking about parent challenges. That's the toddler. Thank you, Jessica. Advocate for yourself. Get some time for yourself no matter what. Exactly. So, yeah, we have to sacrifice some moments and some things and some time and some days, but 100%? No. Yeah, advocate for yourself because you need that. Whoever it is, if you're able to get childcare, or maybe if you have to spend time with the child, maybe you get laundry services so that you don't have to do the laundry, or you get laundry services every so often or rarely, but it is a service that you can get so that you're not doing everything. Or maybe that laundry doesn't get done, or maybe it doesn't get folded. Maybe you do it, but it doesn't get folded. But stressing yourself out doing everything at the same time and having everything be perfect, that's not the way to go. But yeah, that patience, that's what helps me. That really helps me. And just knowing, like, oh, I'm a mother and I have to be patient. It's helpful because it can get really stressful. And I feel like, although, like, the challenges I spoke about earlier with the house flooding and my work challenges, for the most part, I feel like things like that I can deal with. And then later on today, before I got on this podcast, when the kids got home, because my husband picks up the kids, and the almost 13-year-old, he gets off the bus. So when they came home, I realized, oh, the parenting challenges kind of steal my joy more so than the other types of challenges. Because, like, I won't say who, but one of the children, a little annoying with, like, certain things they say, or just over and over and over again. Hey, we vented. We were talking about parenting challenges, so we are telling the truth here today. Our kids can be annoying, can't they? I said it. They can be annoying, and that's okay. I'm a psychiatrist, and yes, it's not in the textbook that they can be annoying, but we all know as parents that they can be annoying. So I said, oh, yeah. But then, I just sat back and I took a deep breath and I said, well, they're annoying, but they don't know it. And they're happy when they're annoying. Usually that is happy. So I said, okay, he's happy. That's why he's making this song thing multiple times over and over and over again. He's happy. I'm glad he's happy. So it's a matter of like empathizing and kind of thinking like, why are they doing that right now? Are they trying to annoy me? Well, sometimes they do try to do things to annoy you. And I'll say to my son, like, you know what you're doing is annoying. Can you please stop? I'm trying to relax. I need some quiet time. Can you go read a book? You know? So, and you can say it nicely. We don't have to yell at them. A lot of times they're going to feed off of our energy. You yell at your child, they're going to yell at you back, or they're going to learn that, oh, mom or dad is yelling at me right now. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do when I'm stressed out. Mom looks stressed and she's yelling. So when I'm stressed, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to yell. But if they know you're stressed about something, but you maintain that calmness, then it's like they learn to be calm and they learn to not yell in those situations. You are your children's first teacher. They have teachers at school, they go to school, they learn, but you are their consistent teacher and you are their first teacher. You are the one that they see when they first are born, and you're the one that they're with those first several months before they start daycare, and you're the one they come home to after they leave school. You are their teacher. You may not be sitting down teaching them those math problems, but they learn so much from you. They learn patience when you're patient. They learn respect when you're respectful. They learn how to deal with finances through you, whether you're teaching them or not. They're listening to you. They are sponges. We all know our kids are sponges. They learn cuss words when you cuss. They learn and they are watching you. So it's always thinking about what you are doing and what you are saying, and they are learning. So I try to tell myself, okay, let me take a deep breath. Gracie's Corner says it. Just take a deep breath whenever you're frustrated. That's for the kids, but that's for us too. You better take a deep breath when you get frustrated, because at the end of the day, you yelling at them may or may not help. Look at me. Hey, we telling the truth. I don't yell at my kids often, but there are some times where he was like kind of like, "Whoa, oh, okay, mama just yelled at me. Let me quiet. Let me calm down." So I'm not promoting you should yell, but I'd also be lying if I said 100% of the time that yelling doesn't work. But the idea behind what I'm trying to say is being calm, respectful to your kids can work because it actually teaches them to respect you and to respect others. Like I said, they are watching you and what you do and how you go through things. So if you're dealing with your own mental illness, if you are anxious at baseline or depressed or sad or going through whatever, they are watching you be anxious and watching you go through life. And that leads to how they go through life themselves. It does. It does. What we do, they learn it. Not saying it's your fault they have anxiety. I mean, there's biological reasons why your child has anxiety. But I mean, let's just face it, there's a lot of things that we do that our kids are learning. So that's why it's good for us to, Jessica, advocate for ourselves so that we get our self care, so that we are being our best selves. It's like we're always on, but you need that time to yourself so that you aren't always on. When they are sleeping and I get my workout in, it just feels so good because I am just thinking about me and thinking about myself and not sacrificing myself for them. But yeah, I thought about that earlier this week because I barely even watch TV when they're around because the TV is filled with what they want to watch. And it's just like, well, I'm sacrificing what I want to watch. And when I was on the plane Tuesday, there was a TV for each of us to watch because Delta has TVs. And I put Paw Patrol movie on for the toddler. And I was like, wait, I have a TV in front of me. I get to pick something for myself to watch. I was like, I want to watch a comedy. I want to laugh. They didn't have The Office, but they had Friends. And I watched 2 episodes of Friends. I've, of course, seen that before. It felt good. I was laughing out loud. My husband was like, I'm like, no, I'm going to laugh. Everybody in this plane going to know that I think this is funny. So I'm like, that felt good. I need to do that more. So, whatever time of the day, there's 24 hours in the day. I can't do the math fast enough to tell you how many minutes there are in the day, but there's a lot of minutes in the day. So, think about what that is or when that is for you, that you will take that time for your parenting self care because you need time for yourself. You cannot sacrifice 100% of the time for your kids. You just can't. Because if you're doing that for them, you have nothing left. How are you going to be there for them? Yeah, the toddler and the baby, they're your shadow and they follow you everywhere you go. And it kind of feels like you have no alone time. You go in the bathroom, they're there. You go to the closet, they're there. You're almost stepping on them because they're literally your shadow and right behind you every time. But you need those moments of the day where it's just for you or just for you and your spouse. Because a lot of parents don't get that adult time because they're always so focused on their kids. So it goes back to planning and scheduling. Plan ahead. Schedule those date nights with your spouse. Schedule the me time with yourself, whether it's going away to a conference and that's how you get your me time. I love going to conferences and that's to learn, but it's also to get the me time that I get when I go to the conferences by myself. So, yeah, self care, getting in time for yourself, because let's face it, it's very challenging to be a parent and you need patience. You just need it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Patience is not supposed to be like, oh, let me just be patient. Recognize that it is something you learn from and you grow from. If you were in the gym and you wanted to gain muscles, are you going to lift some feathers or are you going to lift 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, and you're going to keep going up? Because when you get through the 5 pound one, you're like, okay, this is too light. Let me go to 10 pounds. Let me go to 15, 20 pounds. Let me actually build this muscle and this resistance. Hey, life challenges are that is that resistance. And your patience and your resilience is the muscle that you're gaining from it. So if you change your mind and the way you think about these challenges, it really helps. Yes, I'm beating a dead horse on purpose. Yes, I always talk about you reframing your mental dialogue. I always talk about positive affirmations and self care. And I'm going to continue to talk about that because that's what I'm here promoting: wellness, resilience, and joy. How are you going to get that? By finding time for yourself and by changing your mind and how you think about the challenges. If you think about challenges as, oh my God, this is just awful, it's just going to break me. Well, it's going to break you because you just said it and that's what you think. If you think, oh, this is another challenge, I'm going to get out of this. And this earlier today, thinking through my work challenges and thinking about the house flooding, I'm just like, oh, this is happening again. Well, we're going to get out of this. We are. Because why wouldn't we? Ask yourself that. Why wouldn't you get through that challenge? You're going to get through it. And parenting challenges are more chronic and ongoing. You're going to get through that too because they're going to grow up at some point. But that's another reason why to stop and slow down and be patient. Because once those kids leave and you're an empty nester, they are not thinking about you. They're thinking about their own family and their own challenges. And I mean, that's usually the case. Jessica says practicing mindfulness allows me to or allows her to step back and see the challenges. She says she's blessed to be feeding her child and blessed to be providing a loving home. Yeah, it helps you to step back. I was actually thinking about the mindfulness earlier. Being present in the moment is very, very helpful. And not being worried about the past or worried about the future, or worried about what's to come, but just sitting, grounding yourself, being present. Mindfulness helps you clear your mind. And that really helps to actually see the child and see what is going on so you can address. Toddlers are the like there's challenges with stress with most development, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like compared to the other children, it's the toddler that causes the main issues. But I really try to empathize and put myself in his shoes and just think, you know what? He feels helpless, and he feels like the fact that that granola bar broke, that the world has literally ended. He really believes that. So I need to be here to stay calm with him, not to freak out because he freaked out because that bar broke. And to me it's like, it just put it in your mouth. Like, but that makes it worse. I need to coddle him and be there for him. Maybe he needs a hug. Hug your child. Hug her. So mindfulness, thank you, Jessica, helps you to kind of sit and be present with your child and empathize with them. We were on the cruise and there was this beautiful bridge with these lights and these colors. He really loved going across the bridge. Most of the time I let him go across the bridge, but there was one point where I just went straight to the reception desk. I wasn't thinking about this bridge. I'm not thinking about that. I gotta go to the reception desk. I gotta get a new key because we lost one of the kids' keys. And so all of a sudden, he just screams and just jumps up and down just with this agony. And I'm thinking he wants a lollipop. So I keep telling him, I'll get you the lollipop. I'll get you a lollipop. Because that boy ate so many cookies and lollipops on this cruise. So I was like, I'll get you the lollipop. I'll get you a lollipop. So finally, even though I'm like trying to do my thing and go to guest services, I look at him and I'm listening. I says, what do you need? And he points to the bridge. I'm like, oh, he just wants to go across the bridge. And it was actually a circle where he could just literally run across the bridge by himself. I didn't have to go with him. So I said, go. As soon as I said go, he calmed down and just running. So if your kid goes up and down, highs and lows, yes, they're bipolar. No, I'm just kidding. They're not bipolar. That's their development. That's normal for them to go up and down, from crying and temper tantrum to because he finally got what he wanted. Put yourself in his shoes. He felt like he was trapped and he could not run across that dang on pretty little bridge. And now that he got a chance to do it, he's happy. That's why I pick my battles in every developmental stage. And I tell my parents this of my patients in the appointments that I have. Pick your battles. Just pick your battles. Don't enter into a power struggle with your older child, your preteen, your teen. Why? If it's something they really could just do, and you feel like, well, they didn't listen to me, they're telling me no. But in deep down, you're like, well, I will let them do that thing. But they told me no and they were disrespectful. What? Just pick your battles and let them do that thing. I mean, try to think of an example. I can't even think of an example. But you know your kid want to do something and oh, okay, I don't know. Let's say I'm trying to think. Let's say clean your room. You want him to clean your room and he says no. And you upset because he didn't clean his room because he wants to go outside first. And you're like, of course you can't go outside because you need to clean your room. I said clean your room. I'm the power person. You better clean your room. And then it's this big fight because you really need him to clean your room, his room. So the way I deal with that scenario, I think, okay, you want to go outside. Okay, how long you want to go outside for? Okay, let me look at the time. It's the sun is about to set. If you cleaned your room now, the sun would be down and you actually wouldn't be able to go outside. Why don't you go outside? And when you come back, you'll clean your room. And then they agree. So parenting involves collaboration, especially if they're older, and you can negotiate. My husband hates that. He hates that. He's like, don't you negotiate with our toddler. I don't feel like I can negotiate with the toddler, but I definitely think you should negotiate with your preteen or your older kid. Collaborate with them and, hey, as long as you come back and clean your room. Now, if it doesn't work out that you actually don't clean your room after I told you to and did let you go out and play, then we got something else that we're going to deal with next time you ask to go outside before cleaning your room. So that's an example of just picking your battles. We as parents, we get in this power struggle. I got to be right. How you going to raise a child that's independent and that's willing to be assertive and to say no if all you do is shut them down and you right all the time? Ooh, think of that. You do not have to be right all the time. Another thing, I have to give grace to preteens. I've told a few people this, so I hope my husband don't remind me telling this on here. I have to give grace to my child, my preteen, because a lot of times I'll be like, "You forgot to take out the trash. Why didn't you? You didn't lock the door. Why didn't you do that?" And it's like, "Why are you doing this all the time?" I have to give him grace because it's actually a man thing to forget certain things. I'm sorry. I am saying it. I am saying it. Like I said, this podcast is about my opinion in addition to stuff I've learned. So you're going to get a good mix. But I'm saying it. Because one time I came home from running. No. I came home from something. I was gone. So my husband was the only one at home. At home. And the garage was open. The door was unlocked in the garage, and the front door was open. No, I don't mean closed and unlocked. It was open, and he had went for a run. Obviously, when my husband do something like that, I'm not gonna yell like you didn't lock the door. But usually for a 12-year-old, you didn't lock the door. That's what you're gonna say to your 12-year-old. I'm like, well, if I'm not gonna yell at my husband, obviously, because I have this layer of respect, why am I gonna yell at my 12-year-old? I need a layer of respect. It doesn't change. The kid does it and the adult does it. So it's just a man thing. So I'm like, I just gonna give all y'all grace and just make sure I lock the door when I leave. But anyhow, oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about. This isn't it. I was gonna just talk for 10 minutes, but this has been great. Um, Felt like there was something else I was gonna say. Oh, about negotiating with toddlers. I know my husband doesn't like that, but technically I do negotiate with him. I like to say I don't, but let's say I need him to eat his food because this kid is like in snack phase, only eats snacks. He don't eat actual food. I want a cookie. I want that candy. I'm like, but you need to eat your pancake. You need to eat your peanut butter and jelly sandwich because that's the meal that he'll actually eat. So I'll negotiate. Okay, fine. Let's open up the pack of cookies. You eat a piece of this food, your dinner food, you get a piece of cookie. And then he does it. It actually works. The if then strategy works with him. Picking your battles. All right. So we've learned we got to be patient no matter what with our kids. Respect your kids. Pick your battles. Know that parenting is a sacrifice, but don't sacrifice yourself 100% of the time. You need time for yourself. Next week, I'm planning on talking about ADHD and lying. Thank you, Jessica, for sending me that article. It's amazing enough to just spend some time talking about that article. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll have a special guest, Dr. Shivani Naidu, who is going to talk with me about parenting kids with mental illness. Thank you, Jessica, and thanks for being here. I just love when I have people here and commenting and talking. It's nice. Yeah, I appreciate you for watching and have a great Thursday. Cruise through those challenges, whether they're parenting or not. Don't let your kids steal your joy. Bye bye.